Hello, so welcome back. This is the second video in the Strong and Confident series to make sure that you are getting the results from your exercise. So we are going into specificity today. So this is probably where you are spinning your wheels. You've tried lots of different exercise, you go into group classes, you're running, whatever it is that you're doing, but you're not getting the results that you want. This is what I'm going to go through today. Now, this particular section is going to be a little bit sciencey, so I'm going to ask you to bear with me, but it's really, really important. Once you have the general gist of this, and you don't need to know the ins and outs completely, but when you've got the general gist of the principle, it is going to blow your mind, it's going to change your mind, and once you know this, you can't unlearn it, and everything will make sense to you then when it comes to choosing your exercise and getting results that you want. So, specificity. We are going to go through the SAID principle today, and this stands for specific adaptation to imposed demands. So that basically means that your body will adapt to what you consistently do or the stimulus that you are providing it with. So if you train for strength, you'll get stronger, or maybe you've noticed that when you first start doing something, you're not particularly good at it, but over time you get better, or maybe it's picking something up. Over time, it becomes easier and easier. This is because our body is adapting to the demand that we're placing on it. So when it comes to your goals, when it comes to your exercise goals, your physique goals, so how you want to look, whether it's achieving a certain exercise, whether it's that you want to look good in a bikini and you want to look more toned, or whether it's about hitting 5K, it's not necessarily about just doing more, but it's about choosing the right approach, doing the right kind of exercise, the right amount, the right intensity that trains your body for what you actually want to get. So this is where we're going to go into a bit of the crazy sciencey bit. So please bear with me for this one. Okay. So when it comes to our training, particularly our resistance training, which is what I'm going through today, there's not just one approach. So when we perform challenging exercises like lifting weights using resistance in some way, your muscles are subjected to mechanical tension and metabolic stress. And this process causes damage or micro tears to the muscle fibers, and the body will respond to this damage through a repair process. So we have hypertrophy, and the hypertrophy is building the size of the muscle. So this is typically your kind of bodybuilder approach, where they train the muscle in a way that is purely really to grow the size of the muscle for a certain aesthetic look. Now, we all, of course, want a little bit of that. But the way that the bodybuilder will do it is by using certain machines, isolating certain muscles and muscle groups. So think biceps, for example, or leg curls for your hamstrings, your back of your legs. They are placing a stimulus on the muscle purely to get a result of growing the size of the muscle so that it looks aesthetically good. Now, the downside to that is it doesn't necessarily make the muscle function in a better way. I'm going to cover that shortly. We then have strength. So this is where we're going to think powerlifter, Olympic lifter, people we see in the Olympics doing weightlifting, where they're just doing one rep of really heavy weight. So hypertrophy and strength, the size of the muscle and the strength of the muscle, are actually two different things and can be trained and should be trained differently, although there is an overlap there. So strength is how strong the muscle is and how it contracts and deals with the force exerted on it. Okay, so when we're training, we do need to think about what it is that we want to achieve. Is it strength? Is it purely aesthetic and growing the size of the muscle? And also, is it the function? So do we want to be able to move better? Do we want to be able to do more, be more capable? Do we want to be able to function better for longer and protect our body and our movement as we get older? So the answer probably is a combination of all of these. So now I'm going to run you through kind of functional movement and where that comes in, and I'm going to talk to you about proprioception. So proprioception training is a form of exercise that focuses on building your body's ability to sense and interpret where it is in space and how it needs to respond, so i.e. move or balance in a certain way. And this might have come in a roundabout way to you in the form of muscle memory. You might have heard muscle memory before. So muscle memory actually works in two different ways. That is neurological, through the brain's ability to perform learned movements automatically. So when it comes to learning a new movement, it's actually our central nervous system that controls that. So our central nervous system will send a signal to the muscle that it wants it to move in a certain way. It wants the muscle to contract so that the body can move in a certain way. When we're first learning something new, we are building those neural connections from the nervous system to the muscle. So that might mean we're not so good straight away because we're creating that, we're learning that movement. And I want you to think maybe driving a car here or riding a bike. When we first start, we might be a bit clunky, we don't really know what we're doing, we've got to really think about it. However, the more we practice, the more we repeat the neural pathways, so we get better at it basically. They get stronger, they get more efficient, and we remember how to do things. This is how then, obviously, proprioception works, because our body then has this ability to sense, interpret what it needs to do regarding on where it is in space. Okay, muscle memory is also physiological. So yes, it's mostly to do with the nervous system and that brain-body connection, firing the right neurons, the right signals for the muscle to move in a certain way. But it's also built physiologically, and that is through the ability to regain lost muscle more quickly. So the reason I'm telling you this is I did actually have a question around how to navigate injury or feeling worried about losing all your progress if you need to take a bit of time out. So yes, in terms of building muscle, you need a high volume of stimulus on the muscle to build the muscle. So that hypertrophy, think the size of the muscle. I'm going to go through that separately. But when we build muscle, we actually build cells in the muscle as well. And even if we take time off of training, say because we're injured or for whatever reason we need to take time out, the muscle, we will lose the size of the muscle. That will decrease because the body will naturally atrophy. It's constantly breaking down lean tissue that we're not using. However, the cells we don't lose. So the cells that remember the movement, we don't lose. So then when we go back to doing the thing, go back to training, our ability to pick that back up more quickly will be there. And this is how also the size of the muscle will grow quicker when we've already trained it. So in practice, with these things in mind, one, we want to choose our training approach based on the outcome we want. And if you're here, you probably want a combination of all of those things, which is exactly what I will do with inside your training programs, is make sure that we're hitting all of these different scientific areas. So we're building the size of the muscle, we're building strength as well, so your ability to exert force. And we're also building those functional movement patterns so that you are able to perform better day to day, so that you have that ability to move better for longer, have a better quality of life, obviously protect your movement and your ability to function as you get older, because you probably want all of those things. So with the kind of muscle memory side of things in mind, the earlier we can build those cells, the better. The earlier we can start training, the better, because obviously we will retain that. And in terms of the neurological pathways as well, we will retain those for longer. So as we age, then we've built those pathways there and we're going to be able to move better for longer. Okay, so specificity, let's break it down. Let's make it a little bit less sciencey. I hope I haven't lost you. We are probably not here because we want to enter a bikini competition. So that's like your bodybuilding competition that you'll see where they're all tanned up and so on. But you do want to have the energy, the capacity to live life. You want to feel better in your clothes. You want to be stronger and you want to protect your ability to function day to day. So we need to train for the goals we want and the life that you actually want to live. And this is obviously where then specificity is really important. Your training needs to reflect what you want to achieve and your personal reality. So the things that you need to be able to do to function day to day, the movements you need to be able to do to function, the strength that you need, whether that's pushing a buggy, lifting the kids, pushing a wheelchair of elderly parents in. Not just what a 25-year-old influencer or a bikini competitor is showing you. And this is also why just going to random group classes or doing random workouts in the gym are not getting you the results that you actually want, because you're not creating the adaptation that your body needs to get the outcome that you want. So the magic will happen when you start giving your body a clear, consistent message and you are continually progressing. So if we want to obviously keep the muscle size, we want to keep the look of the muscle, that tone, if we want to keep the strength and we want to keep the ability to function, we do need to continue training, because if we don't use it, we lose it. And we want to keep adapting to the demand that we're placing on it within a certain degree. So in the next recording, I'm going to go through how we actually do that. I'm going to talk you through how you progress with your training.